I love using Seesaw activities in my class and with students that I work with, but sometimes if I'm doing a lot of them in one week, it gets to be a lot to manage for a teacher. So I'm going to show you what are some ideas that I would use if I was going to post a lot of Seesaw activities to try to combine them into one activity. Now, there are a couple different ways you can do this. I'm inside of a new activity. I've labeled it just the week that I am going to be using, and now I'm going to go down to template for student responses. Now I am going to do the drawing tool. The reason I'm going to do the drawing tool is it allows me over here to add up to 10 different pages in a slideshow. And this slideshow can act as different activities for me that students can work through. So there's a couple of ways you can think about this. You could simply do all of your activities like this. You could add a page for Monday, a page for Tuesday, a page for Wednesday, and all the way to Friday. Okay, so what I'm doing is I'm going to put the name of that day on there. I'm going to add 5 pages so that there's one for each day. Now I could design my activity. I could design a different activity for every single day of the week. So what a student would do then is when they log in, they would complete the Monday activity, and then they would click draft, come back the next day, complete the Tuesday activity, click draft, which is a little button that pops up in the top right corner for them. And that basically means that they're not done working with it. Okay. And so then at the end of the week, when they've completed all of them, then they eventually would click and submit it. So doing one activity per day and working through the week could be really helpful. Or you can do up to 10 pages. So theoretically, you could do 2 activities for each day. So I could have 2 Monday pages, 2 Tuesday pages, 2 Wednesday pages, and so on. Another way you could do this is if you did not want to do it by day. Another thing you could do is you could do a whole week's work of activities, but do it by subject. So let me delete all of these. Go. And Monday. So now what I could do is if I wanted to give them a little bit of choice, and I know that they had a couple of days or whatever length of time you want to give them, but I could do it by subject. So I could do a math subject. I also love putting the I can statement right down here, the learning target. So I can add double digit numbers. Okay, so what I can do is, this is of course my template. So I can put these things on there. I can hit these 3 little dots and lock it down. That means students won't be able to move them on the template. So I have this math problem. So then I could do something like, all right, 44, plus 38. Okay, I can make that maybe a little bit bigger. I can do some editing of it. So it's kind of this nice problem. All right, I'm going to put that on there. All right, so now they've got a problem that they're going to work with, right? That's their math work. Now I can go to the next page, and maybe this one is going to be writing. And I could put a learning target up there. I can write a description of a person. I don't know, whatever it is. And then maybe I write some directions. Describe in detail a character from your book. All right, so I can set these activities up. And maybe this one I want to make a little smaller. Maybe I want to make it red so that there's some directions on there. So I can work through, I have a math slide, I have a writing slide. I could do something maybe for science, create an activity. I could do something for social studies. I could do something for, maybe just fun. And so you can create up to 10 different slides that they could work through, covering lots of different subject areas. So I like both of those techniques of either, hey, I'm going to put a whole week's worth of activities so you can progress through maybe a skill or the week, or putting one activity for each subject and let them work through those kind of with their own choice. So that's a really great way to use Seesaw to help you organize a little bit more. Once again, you just have to train your students to click draft instead of posting every time, which is a pretty easy thing to teach them, so that they can kind of use the entire week to work on something, and you're not getting 8 or 9 different Seesaw activities that you have to organize inside of there. I can look through a whole week's worth of stuff for each student in one sitting. All right, so hopefully that helps you organize. It's a great tool, and good luck as you create.